fantastic. Yeah, brilliant, man, brilliant. Yeah. Except, I mean, it seems so cool. Look at this one, bright red, bright yellow with black spots.
So I just wanted to kind of get some sort of gauge of their understanding, and it was quite interesting finding out. They were quite good on knowing what the environment was and realising that it was basically whatever surrounds them. So there was different types of environment, so they were quite knowledgeable about that. But then when we started talking about art and what is art, they had some quite definite views, including things like a painting or a picture or something in a frame is art, but something that maybe somebody does in a place isn't art. So it was quite interesting to kind of get that from them.
Vicky introduced herself when she came and she did a little presentation to the children as to all her artwork that she's done previously. And the children were so impressed with that, and they didn't realise that, you know, one of the things that she said that an artist that she knew had done was a snow sculpture. What they'd actually done was just lay down in the snow. And, you know, the children had argued with her that that's not a sculpture, you know. But you know, she said it's, you know, work of art, and it was done in its instant, you know. So they were really keen on that. That sounded like a really good idea to them. So we went along to, we arranged a visit to South Burdon, which we could walk to from school, but we took the bus on the time. And went around South Burdon, which was a nature reserve that the children didn't even know was there.
We did lots of things on site using the natural materials, really. Really, the reason for doing that was to get them to think about being in that environment and on that site. So it was kind of by getting them to collect certain colours of grasses and leaves and flowers and things. It was getting them to look around. You know, they were kind of given a task and they didn't quite realise that they were learning through that task. So we had them grinding up different materials to make pigments. In some of the sessions we had them digging up mud to look at the different levels within the soil and kind of thinking about why those levels are there. Looking at kind of how materials come from the environment, so things like natural clays that we dug up from ponds and created site-specific sculptures for. We went on bug hunts and kind of made observational drawings from right there in the environment on site from the bug viewers. And we did various things, most of them using natural materials.
You might be able to see the different types of shrub. We'll have a look as we go around. We've got broadleaf. It's been really good working with Vicky. She's given us some different ideas, such as the paint using from naturals, which we've stolen and used in our own activities. Seeing how she interprets the environment as well is different. It's quite a new idea and refreshing to see, which we can also learn and take on board and teach to the kids. Just seeing how her artwork compares and differs from the skills that we use. I mean, she used more visual things. It's been great.
Well, we've been collecting lots of flowers and leaves.
I think from my first thoughts about working on Green TV, that was what immediately sprung to mind, really, to get people to connect with the site by using some of the materials that came from the site.
We walked along the old Darlington and Stockton railway track and gathered different coloured flowers and leaves to help us make pigments for each layer of the environment, which we would use later. We had great fun doing this, as you can see from our photos.
Each school sort of presented their work and what they'd done to each other and kind of took turns to share. And it was quite interesting seeing how the classes were quite proud of what they'd done. You know, they were quite proud of the work they'd made, but also where they'd been and what they'd discovered and kind of their knowledge, really, of the environment and of the sites that they kind of now felt, you know, they could happily go to at any time. And that kind of sharing experience, I guess, is what Green TV is about, where it's people learning about the wildlife sites, but also learning about art. So I think they were equally as proud of as both sort of groups of knowledge, really.
It's really important to get them out. Not a lot of the kids that came along to Green TV didn't know the sites very well. So it was great to show off our own sites and that they were on their doorstep and, you know, using art as a way to build education and also show how important the natural environment is and how we have to look after it and not destroy it and everything. So it's been brilliant. I think the kids enjoyed themselves. I mean, the feedback that I've got from some of them, they were really happy with coming outside. It's different from learning inside a classroom and everything, so it's been brilliant.
I decided to do the community residency aspect of it in summertime on the Redhall site, which is quite close to the Redhall housing estate. And I knew that there'd be kind of lots of kids over the summer holidays who were kind of kicking around and not really up to much, and they might wander onto the site just for something to do. So Pippa advertised our workshops that we were doing on site. We had a few people come with parents, and they were a bit kind of apprehensive as to kind of, you know, what's going on, what's happening, and who are these people doing this. So once we'd explained what we were doing, they basically were quite happy to get hands on, get covered in mud, and just start creating some sculptures there and then. And then in the afternoon, we had a lunch break, and over lunch, word must have spread amongst their friends, because then in the afternoon we had quite a lot more come back who kind of wanted to join in and had heard what we were doing. So unfortunately we only did that for 5 days, but I think we probably could have done it for the full 6 weeks.